Alright, so finally gonna do another one. Not finally, it's not that long ago this time. But I wanted to do one on how to easily, quickly black out a window. Because I can't think of really more than, I don't know, one or two gigs I've been where I didn't have to, black out a window. Unfortunately, I didn't really kind of figure this out until, I don't know, a little while ago. Just after an event, my buddy John Luce came out and helped me out on. It's unfortunate too, because that event, that was a music video that we shot, and had a pretty big window out front that we needed to black out for some and have open for others. And unfortunately, it wasn't all that organized. I mean, it was at one point, but then it got all out of whack. And poor John, because he doesn't know, much about gaffing and filmmaking and stuff, he was the one I gave a roll tape to, and some Fernies and Duvetine, and I asked him to black out the window. And then they told me they were going to shoot a different scene, and they needed it unblocked out. So they needed it was a daytime scene. They needed the sun coming in. So he tore it down. And before we shot that, they changed their mind. I swear he blacked that same window out maybe 4 times. It's a lot of tape that he went through. But I figured out, I don't know, I'm sure I'm not the only one that does it this way, but I don't think I've ever really seen anyone on a low budget thing do it like me. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure this isn't unique. On the big sets where they have a budget, they usually make a tent out of the windows, like out of maybe speed rail or square stock or whatever, and make a tent so that they can have a light inside and control the window 100%, whether it's blacked out or has a little bit of moon or sunlight shining through, whatever. But and maybe that's where I got the idea, but either way, I'm going to show you what I do. Usually I'll use my combo stand because, well, they go up to 15 feet plus. Obviously they're rigid. They're not going anywhere. They weigh like enough for like 3 combo stands to weight. The spread is much bigger, etc. But also they have the Rocky Mountain. All of my combo stands have a Rocky Mountain leg, which make this a lot easier. But I'll show you how I do it with a combo stand as well as the a C stand. So anyway, I'm going to grab some gear. Alright, so all I really need for this is, at least the way I do it, is I'm just going to use a Fernie. If you, it depends on the situation, of course. You might not want to see these white threads, and most of the time you probably won't see them anyway, but you might want to use some Duvetine or something. Now I carry black sheets on my grip truck, a couple of them like king size, just for various things. They're not good enough to block the light out if the sun's coming out, but you can put it on the inside of a Fernie and you won't see the threads. But anyway, So for a C-stand, you just need a C-stand, sandbags, Cardellini or Mattolini, and you're always going to need some tape, probably. But for the combo stand, I'm just going to use a combo stand and ear and some square stock. Oh, and the square stock for the C-stand as well. But I'll show you how we're going to do it. And I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to use the tape or sandbags for this because, you know, I forgot. You're also going to need a bunch of like number 2 or 3 spring clamps. And generally what I do is if I think I need 4, I grab 8 or 12. Because you always need more than you think you need. I was kind of surprised on this last gig that I did. The grip didn't really know what a Fernie was. I was like, oh, Fernie on sound blanket, you know, a furniture pad. And when I said a sound blanket, he knew what I was talking about. So they go by all kinds of different names, but those are the main ones, like Fernie or sound blanket. We're just going to black out this window today. Why not? You know? I really should be using this day to clean up my yard and do some stuff, but I'm a numbskull. I don't like yard work. Plus, my lawnmower died, and yeah, I just don't feel like working on it today. Every time this happens, I say I'm going to buy a brand new lawnmower. I've never bought a new one, but I'm saying it right now. But I know me. Next week or sometime during this week, I'll probably just tear this thing apart, clean it out, fix it, whatever the problem is. And it's probably just a gasket or something that, you know, something stupid. I'm going to start with the C-stands. I already put the Cardellini in there. You remember, your grip heads always go to the right, so that if, you know, when the weight wants to pull down, it's going to tighten. So I'm going to actually put this out to an angle a little bit, because the C-stand, you know, I want the long leg over the weight. So I'm just going to put it out a little bit so that we can get it up against the wall, because ultimately that's what you're going to wind up doing. You'll see in a minute. I'm going to put the square stock in here. This is from the frame that I made that can be either a 6x6, an 8x8, or a 10x10. I'm just going to pop this in. It doesn't have to be centered, whatever. And this is from canopies that, you know, the wind blows and one of the things gets bent and people throw it away, and I grab it, use all the square stock for it because it's cheaper than buying square stock. And, you know, repurposing perfectly good square stock is, you know, it's good for me. So I'm just gonna pop this in. I'm not gonna cinch it down too tight so that I don't want to bend it or whatever. It doesn't need to be that strong. So I'm just going to pull it in there. Make sure that it's being held snug. And put it in our orientation. Then I'm going to grab my party. And clip it up. Pretty simple. Now, one thing I have found works really well is at the top, I usually roll it up and have like a roll on the inside where, so that there's a roll, like a roll, and then the ferny comes down here. That helps seal the top a little better. So I'm just gonna do that. And then we're gonna walk it into the window. Actually, just gonna raise it up just out where we're gonna need it. One thing I got to mention. So it's almost done. Bottom line, you see it's almost done because you can see C-stand is leaning forward. Normally I should have a sandbag on it, but you can see it came undone because I'm at numbskull. But it's nice and tight. In this particular case, you take an extra spring clamp because if the wind kicks up, you can just put a pinch on there. This is obviously not good, but I'm not sure. I don't care about it for now. The window's over here, so I'll probably just put one of these on as well. Right there. And you might want to tape some down. And like I said, you're going to want sandbag on that and the tennis ball out here, because this is dangerous. But that's that. So let me tear this down. I'm just going to roll this up instead of taking it off. Roll it up because you never want flags or even fernies to hit the ground. They get dirty and it's expensive to get them clean. My favorite way to do this with the combo stand, lollipop, pop the puppy in, always on the right side. So there's two ways you can do it. Depends. And in this situation, I think I'm actually going to use the Cardellini again. But another way you can do is like you take an ear and, pop it in, pull it back, tighten it up. Notice what I did wrong here? Depends on your lollipop, but I usually have to put this on the inside so that doesn't interfere with that. There we go, hooked up. carried. The problem with this is the T-bar, the square stock is going to go this way. And even though I'm going to, you know, even though I have the Rocky Mountain Lake forcing the camera right now because it's away from the window, even, you know, if it were on this side, leaning it up against, we're still have a little bit of room. That is another reason why I like to roll it up, make a sort of a ball, because then when you lean it up against it, it kind of covers the top, and you know, you get it kind of hanging off. I'm going to use a Cardellini because Cardellini's allow me to get it out a little bit. And yes, you can use baby pens on lollipops. You just have to find the right on. But there we go. There it is. Stick them out. Let's tighten it up. And same thing. So I'm going to open up the legs and up. Now, it's the strongest the legs are as wide as they're going to be, and that usually means that the support braces are horizontal. It's not the case right now, but I don't have a lot, and this is already wide enough. So yeah, you don't have to do it as wide as it needs to go, or I mean as wide as it can go. Anyway, put the Cardellini on there and crank it down so it won't turn. It's on the right side, so it's going to tighten when the weight gets on there. And now we're just going to do the same thing. We'll roll up a little so that we have a little cushion at the top. And still, again, we're going to want the clips goes away. So now we're just going to kind of roll up. Start on one end. A little bit there, so now you can see kind of how we're going to have a little bit of a cushion. It's kind of good. I always wondered why Mr. Softy was such a good game. Because never mind. So now you can see you've got the cushion there that's going to go up against the window. So I'm going to just move the camera back. Now we're going to walk it in. And because in this case, it's the Rocky Mountain leg, the only one with the knob, is pointing away from the window. Normally you want the long leg pointing towards the weight. In this case, it's going to lean up against the wall, which is stronger than no wall. So, get it? So, we don't need that weight out there. But we do need the Rocky Mountain leg to lean it in. That said, having the long leg away also puts the short, the shorter distance between the legs and the wall forward. So that's perfect, right? Because we want to get it close to the wall. Lock it in. And center. Walk it in. It's a little bit, doing a little more stability. Yeah. A little more stable. So out from the wall, about 6 inches out. That's okay. Lift it up. Crack it down. Flush your ends. Rocky Mountain. That comes out. And of course you want to sandbag. And then once again, peek. Slide your air. Here you go. And usually I tape the bottom. See, but that's it. I mean, you can see the wind blowing. That's why you still need some tape usually. But in this case, you don't. That's the bottom. Tighten up there. Here. I would tape, like I said, I would tape the bottom, but let's go inside and see how it looks. All right, so you can see it's not perfect. I can still see some light, which is why a lot of times I'll put either Duve or either Duvetine or a sheet, which should be thick enough to kill those little holes that are in the threads. Yeah, but that's much better than trying to tape to stuff that usually gaffer's tape is great, but it doesn't stick very well. And if you use like actual duct tape, you might wind up ruining the finish. You can't use paper tape because that doesn't stick as well to a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff you can't do, but this is much faster, much easier. If we wind up in a situation like we did on that shoot with John, the music video, which was, black it out, tear it down, black it out, tear it down, black it out, tear it down. It's easy enough. And you can even have the stand standing by, ready to go back up. So, sorry, John. Moose, sorry about that. So you live and learn, and now I know. And next time you come out with me, he's in the Navy now, but if you're back in town and you want to go on a gig while you're on leave or whatever, I'm down. You're always good with me. I won't have you be taping up windows much anymore. And I don't know, that's it. I'm going to go tear down. And we'll probably do some yard work that I've been procrastinating on.